Yeah. So, um, let's, I guess, dive into it. Um, there are some things that I left out in past videos about the passive tree. You'll have to forgive me. It's huge and there is tons to talk about. So, um, let's start off with the tree itself. Um, and kind of why it works. Um, so the reason I moved this way on the tree is because I wanted that minion damage. That was it. So basically, from this point, I wanted to know where the chaos was and where the minion damage was. So I laid in a track which was the shortest number of dots guiding me to that point. And then from there, right, you have a little cluster of chaos, and then it's like, okay, from here, where do I need to go next? And then again. So most of this is self-explanatory, right? You've got intelligence and then minions. Now my minions were a lot hardier. There was a video that I posted yesterday where I was messing around in the labyrinth and I stood in the fire and my minions' shields were just getting torn up. I had a gem, a supporting gem, that allowed for elemental resistance on my minions. And oh my god, did it work wonders. Like, they just sat in the fire and was like, what? I'm chilling. They fight in the, like, nothing would happen to them. It's pretty bomb. So beefing up the minions is key because I'm so squishy. Like, basically think of me as the heart, right? You pluck it from the chest and everything falls apart. It's a weak and key feature of the body, trapped behind a rib cage made of zombies. So I needed some in the lower level, like, and all of this works in the lower levels too. So like in the lower levels, I was finding that I was squishy and that I needed, like, I was just like pew and everything was like right? So I needed a little something extra. So to have those zombies really made my situation OP. So coming into this is self-explanatory, the damage and the chaos over time. So everything that I basically do is chaos. This was the track that I chose. This was the track that I chose to get to here, which was again a multiplier of chaos. Coming down into this skill tree. Now, again, I didn't choose life. I chose mana, which was right at the time I wasn't thinking. So I but at the same time, like, if I don't give myself this mana, when I do this, like, when I don't, like, if I don't have the amount of mana, go. This game, I swear. So the build works I'm hesitant to try and change it. I might make another character and see if I can't beef up the life rather than the mana. But what scares me is if I take away from mana when I do this, am I going to have any mana? So the trouble that I had was like, look, I don't think I have enough. I don't have enough mana to make my golem. Right? So you may find, okay, stop it. This is my XP we're talking about here. Go away. I'm not even ready for this. I don't have zombies. I don't have nothing. Go on. Shoo. Okay. Oh, by the way, these things are just terrors. I love them. They move so fast. Oh, so good. But we'll get to that. So when I put everything together, am I going to have enough mana to operate in the first place? So something to maybe consider to being not so squishy. And I may just do that. I may just make another witch and take her down and take her down the health path rather than the mana path or the energy shield. No, I'll keep the minion damage. We'll see. I mean, like, this thing has been duct taped together in like such a red-green fashion that if I pull a piece out, the whole thing falls apart. So I finally got it to a point now where it's stable. I have a little bit of gear and I'm not just running Magic Find gear. Because that's what it was. You pick up a piece of Magic Find and if it's better, try and incorporate it into the piece of gear with the gems that you have in the stash. Again, this is chaos damage. So that's what I don't care about the physical damage. I don't do any physical damage, but that's not what I'm after in this case. I'm after the increase in chaos, right? That's what that was for. So, but I mean, look at it, right? It works. So coming down here, this, right? There's more chaos in here. So this is why I traveled down into this area. I specifically came here for a gem, which I have now acquired. Since I'm not running a shield anymore, I needed to replace the shield gem that I was using. And so I just went strictly chaos and poison. So I kind of like doubled down on everything, which is nice because chaos or poison is chaos, right? So it all kind of like works together in itself. I'm not going to take any of the resistances yet. I'm strictly damage at this point. Coming over to here, the reason I came over here is because there's a poison multiplier, right? And then the chance on hit, that's kind of important as of right now. You can see when I do the ring, the balls of fire that open up as a ring, or like the darts that go forth. So that's from the Herald. I want this gem slot, if at all, just to get some more skills, right? Like I'll give you one projectile speed. Like I still use essence drain, right? So it's nice to get that a little faster, because I shoot that thing and it's just like late to the party all of the time. So but I mean, it's like if something's right in front of you, it's just like a nice right to the chest, right? And just everything just goes poof. And if you happen to throw a contagion out at the same time, that essence is going to hop along with the contagion. So if anything, yes, I would like that gem spot. I'm down for that. I'd have to dig in here. I don't think there's any more chaos in here. I'll have to look. I don't think there is. Yeah. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how many levels I can squeeze out of this. So coming up this way, I don't know if I showed off this gem. This is the gem. And then it doesn't say anything about not being able to double down on it. So I made another one. Well, not made it, but found it or put it in, whatever. Not made it. That's a really bad choice of words. But like, I put it in. So I don't know what this bubble does yet. I have to figure that out. If I can find out what this bubble is for, I'm going to buy another one of these and put it here, because there's minion stuff in here, right? So coming this way, I did chaos and yeah. So I'm going to talk about in a second. Coming this way, apply another curse. So I've set it up now to where I can so when I drop a curse, I actually drop two curses at the same time. And we'll talk about that in a second. But that is what this is for. And the curses that I drop are multipliers of chaos. So so that's why that's there. Because the curses are basically the body of the build at this point, right? It's getting to the point where I'm so strong, at least in the levels that I'm playing in, right? So now it's to the point where I'm going to need to get a new set of gear to help me move forward. I'm basically just hoping that I can get max enough damage that everything just dies when I look at it. And if that's the case, then I just never get touched. But as you can see, when I'm doing runs, sometimes I'll be like ripping through, and then all of a sudden, poof, I'm just dead. I'm one-hitted because I only have like, I don't even know how many shields do I have. Yeah, so between life and energy, I barely have like 4,000. So, and I hear of people running around with like 5,000 life, just 5,000 life, whatever their shield is. So, but I don't know what type of damage they're doing. I haven't really looked at anybody yet. I don't want to. I've just been gathering information. I don't want to like spoil. I don't want to spoil my ideas with somebody else's meta build. I'm going to sacrifice elemental damage for this jewel socket, and hopefully I can get something like this going again. I might see if there's something different. Like, I know that you can take these things into the. I don't know if you can take these things. I know you can take things into your laboratory and muck about with like the skills and the sockets and everything. So it could get to a point where we could super focus this into just like maximum damage, whatever. But as of right now, These are probably, from what I gather, these are probably bought from the market. I don't think I found 2 of them on the ground. This one I definitely bought from the market, and this one I probably scooped up from the market on the way up. This needs to be replaced, but at the same time I need to watch out because I have strength in here, right? So this strength might actually be a piece of the puzzle so that I can hold one of these or more of these, right? So if we took this out, is my build good enough that I don't need it anymore? Okay, so my build is now good enough that I don't need this gem anymore. So that's the thing, right? Like I pull out a ring or I pull something out and everything just, I just get redded. So, so this can now be replaced. So what I would do now is grind out, but we're gonna equip it because it's still juicy. Because 10% increase damage over time, like basically everything I do is over time, so it's nice. So I came down this way because I found some minion stuff, which was super nice. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, this spiritual aid, I do not want it. So I will not be investing in this particular skill because I only have 1,000 health, right? So this is basically saying increases and reductions to minions also affect you, right? So whatever happens to my whatever happens to my rib cage now happens to my heart. No, thank you. I want to keep those two segregated from each other. I want my mob to either, like, right? So no, none of that. We're not sharing any. I'm not sharing that damage with you. If you're gonna walk out into the fire and cook yourself because you're an idiot, am I gonna die? So now, and you'll see me, right? You'll see me when I'm in the labyrinth. I'll actually click a skill into the corner and I'll focus my horde up onto the steps so they don't sit there and cook anymore. Whereas I didn't have to do that. I could just let them wander around in the lava fire and they're like, meh. But I don't have that anymore, which is maybe something that I should do. Right now I'm strong enough that physical damage doesn't really affect my horde, but elemental kind of does. So I might bring, and that's a gem. That's a gem in the bank somewhere. So I'm not going to invest in this. I will probably invest in this because its minions deal 10% extra damage, right? And they have better accuracy for eating your face, which is totally awesome. So I put that in. Definitely leave that out. And then I came down here for this, right? That's the other reason why I came down here. Now, there's another jewel slot, a jewel socket here. So I might slip down. So this will help. So this 10% or this 10 plus strength, which I don't need right now. But again, I've taken things off of the build because I've changed it because I was trying to hold my magic build together, right? But this is mostly magic and dexterity, what I'm wearing. So I don't really have to compensate. It's not, right? I have high intellect, so I can wear all this stuff. I can easily wear this stuff, or I have high dexterity, so I can easily wear all of this stuff. So I don't have an issue with that. But whereas when you start to throw in a shield and you start to throw in heavy armor and you start to throw in those red gems, then you start to need extra strength. So I've been modifying. So the build works in different segments, but again, I've been modifying it and focusing it into, I guess, a purely chaotic build. There just happens to be fire in it now because of my little pet, which is interesting. So I'm probably gonna dip down here for this socket. Now, if it gets to a point where I got a couple extra skills and I don't have any more chaos floating around, there's a socket here, but this socket is closer. Or this jewel socket, sorry. This jewel socket is closer to this socket. So I may, at this point, finish up over here, take these two poisons, take this jewel socket for some extra skill, and then ride on over here and spend my 20 skills racking up on these gems and making myself fat. Right? Maybe at this point, if there's nothing left for damage, I start to beef up. Oh, that's with ailments. So I don't do ailments, really. I believe ailments are elemental. So when you think about being burned over time by fire. So I threw a fireball at you and now you're toasty for 5 seconds because I caught all your clothes on fire. So that's basically what that is for. So that doesn't do anything for me. That's if you're going to be a fire mage, which I've got going on in the background, which I'm kind of building. This is something that you're going to want to invest in for your overtime stuff, right? So like you toss in one skill, it does an AoE, and everything is burning, and now everything is dead, right? That's kind of what that is. But it also depends on how you're playing too. So I may do that. Sorry, that was kind of a digression. So there are some things that I could kind of poke around with. I could either maximize damage. Well, I mean, and don't get me wrong, like these gem slots play into like, if it gets to a point where I want to grind out for some currency or whatever, you can bring it down and I can throw in Magic Find in all of these things, right? If I'm so OP that I'm running through this, wherever this is. What act is this? Act 9? Act 10? Act 10. So I'm in Act 10. So this is basically where I grind. Like, I'll do so. I don't get any. I gotta figure out what to do in the labyrinth so I can get that higher, so I can actually get some XP out of it when I'm in there. Which I haven't figured out how to do yet. I'm gonna have to maybe run some quests and clean up my storyline. But right now, this is where I'm gaining XP. But the problem is that it's slowly starting to like. It's getting slower. So that's where the maps come in, right? Upgraded maps, upgrade the labyrinth, get these. Same thing with the mining process. So look for that sulfur, and then take that to the mine, and then the deeper you go, the harder your things become. Hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Yes, you just caught that. Awesome. Okay. So I'm kind of at an impasse right now because I don't have a full build either, right? Like I need to be in here so that I can get currency and I can bring little tidbits home and get the odd orange so that I can put something together so that I can actually be a force. So, yeah, right? I don't need to go like once I get my stuff, once I start grinding in the upper levels, I shouldn't be going in with rarity find items. That's off the table. I want something that's going to help me progress deeper into the dungeons and create more damage and be able to be more defensive in that sense. So I need to get this stuff off the table, but I'm at an impasse where I need to create currency so that I can put it all together. So in saying all of this, you can go both ways. You could beef it up, right? And we've beefed it up. So what I've done here is I've got my Herald. Right? And it grants 20% chance hit on poison. Grants more poison damage. And then you get that little crawler, and he comes out, and that's the one that does all the fireballs and throws little darts everywhere, and he just kind of adds to the fun. And then this, right? So supported. So I could potentially toss another. Like if I could get this all green, and then throw another poison support in there. Right? I could have this green gem where this blue one stands. But the supported skill now does chaos damage. So I'm wondering if this works. So I mean there's nothing to suggest that it doesn't. So I'm assuming that whatever I'm doing something that's going to be supported, and there's going to be 6% increase in chaos damage. And because poison is chaos damage or chaos related, right? So I'm kind of hoping, and then supported skills inflict on hit or decay on hit, dealing some more chaos damage. So what I'm hoping is as well, you're throwing those fireballs around and you're doing crazy stuff, you're also inflicting more damage. So my raised zombie. Now inflicts decay and deals 8% increased chaos damage. I get 9 zombies now instead of the 8 because I put them into this hat or this circlet, which gives me 2 minion gems. So I have 2 minion gems in here. I have raised zombie and I have minion supported skills, which is my attack. Now I could trade up the increased attack speed and casting speed. I could trade this for my elemental, right? And now my zombies, and because it's a supported minion skill, this hat will give me +2 to that support skill. So now, oh shit. So now my minions, no, stop it. Put it on your head. Don't. I hate your button configuration so much. Oh my god. Whoever created it was on too much caffeine. Okay. So, I'm assuming that's my energy shield. It could be their energy shield. I don't know. It doesn't really, right? I think it would specify maybe minion shield. I don't know. I'm assuming that's my shield. Spectra life. I don't really need. They don't die. They don't die, so I don't really. Yeah, it's not needed. So the other day I ended up putting one of my skills into a blood magic spot, and it messed up my whole build. So you need to watch. You need to watch out for that particular thing. And this is why I have 0 mana and health, right? Because I was running around with like 500 health the other day because I was playing with the gem locations, and like I'm like, why do I have nothing? And I tried running around like that, and it was just like, no, I was one hit all the time. I didn't have enough reaction time between the shield and my health to hit a potion to keep things going. So, so that's why this is over here, and Malevolence is over here somewhere. Yeah, so Malevolence is over here because it now takes up mana rather than health. So Contagion gets extra chaos support. Essence Drain gets extra chaos support. I'm assuming this is how it works, right? And then there's another support, which is, now I'm pretty sure there's links all the way up to the top. So again, this should be supporting this, right? That's the theory. And this is supporting both of those, right? So I have 2 things supporting 2 things. So 17% more spell damage, 22% more damage over time. So I could essentially, now would it be worth it to take this out and replace it with another one of those? I think it might be. I think it might be, right? Like some of these things I've been fine. I bought quite a few of these. I don't know where I got this from. I might have picked it. I might have picked it up. I might have bought it. I don't know. But it's kind of looking like I should be doing something else because I could get, I don't know. I'll have to play with it. I'll have to play with it and see what's going on here. This might just make everything beefy enough to actually have this make sense, right? I could probably have a better belt. This seems appropriate for what I'm doing, though. And I found this in the Labyrinth. I found another one. I need a new set of boots, right? So I'm still running with rarity boots and rarity rings. So what we've got going on here, some of it's duct taped because I got the green spot and I don't have the chromatics, because I've been dumping chromatics into a chest piece trying to get 77% extra chaos damage. Now I don't know if that's in a general sense or if that's just in the gems that I put into the chest piece, but either way sounds kind of awesome. But it's a dexterity plate, not a magic plate, so I'm getting greens and reds and the occasional blue, and it's just like, ugh. So I should probably try to get all of the sockets on the chest plate and then try and roll for at least 3 blues and a green, right? And then put it all together. That's probably the process that I'm going to have to take, because you'll have more chances per roll because you'll have more sockets in your chess piece, because I only have four sockets in the chess piece. So I think I'm kind of going about it the wrong way statistically, which is an error on my part. So to this, raise spectra. So that's those little. So I've kind of switched it into a damage mode rather than having the bubbles in the background. These things seem to like spit things. They're kind of like fast little archers. But what they do, and I just raise the dead, right? So they do added chaos. They have a chance to. Now, I only have 3 of them, but they have a chance. Each of them has a chance to perform a wither on hit. But now what's interesting is that I have 3 of them, but they also spit. You'll see they spit like 3 or 4. They spit like 3 or 4 projectiles out of themselves. So that's a hit. So now I have 3 things spitting out 3 things and potentially just adding a wither on. So right, so you have to watch out. So some things might look inadequate, but once you start piecing together the puzzles, it actually starts to become a nice picture, right? So there's some things that you could be compounding with your spectras, and I want to add some elemental damage into it, but this seems to be working so far. So I'm not gonna mess with it, you know. But I could have an elemental spectral doing fire damage, and creating a wither, plus having added chaos damage to the elemental damage that they're doing. So now I've got 2 things going on, well, 3 things if you count the poison. It's like, I don't know, semantics, I suppose, right? So that could be an interesting setup. I could have 2 types of damage going on. I could have elemental and chaos at the same time if I chose more appropriate spectras. So the ribbons, they look like ribbons. And I can't remember where to find them, and I don't know what their names are. But they shoot really, really fast, and you can get them in all elements, which is kind of interesting. So you could potentially switch it around. Like since I could have 3, I could have a fire and an electrical one. And I don't know if they come in ice, but at the same time, right? Like, and now I've got fire, electricity, and frozen damage, but at the same time they're also doing chaos damage. So it could kind of get interesting depending on how I make this build out, right? So but for now we're just picking up animals and seeing how they play out. Again, the boots are garbage. They're just here to help me find treasure. The gloves, curse enemies with a level temporal chains on hit. I believe that is a slowing curse. But here's the thing, I can only drop 2 curses. So does this actually count as a 3rd curse via the gloves? Or do I need to be able to drop a 3rd curse to use these gloves? So the last skill is in question until I find out that answer. but at the same time, like, it's a nice set of gloves. At least, at least it's got something, right? I'm less squishy than the Magic Fine gloves that I had on. So my Chaos Golem is now supported by Energy Leech, and supported skills deal 35% more damage while leeching energy. So it's something I got for now, but again, if we can double down, because there's nothing saying that we can't double down on our support gems. So if we can double down on our support gems, would it not make sense? I don't know. I'll have to play with this to see if I can. I mean, it looks nice to have, but does it actually do anything? I'll have to see. Supported skills deal increased chaos damage and inflict decay, right? So now on top of, so the golem creates a damage over time aura and has little spikies and all this fun stuff. So now on top of that, it's got increased chaos and a little bit of extra nummies, and then increased chaos and a little bit of extra nummies, right? So that's kind of what I've done with the golem. Instead, because I had it in the shield giving me health, but it made no sense to give me health because things one-shot me anyways. So it's basically what, just to make me feel good that my gem sockets are full and that I'm doing something. But you know, like, you could be leveling something, right? Yeah, I could have a magic find ring that has a socket in it, and I could just be throwing gems in there and leveling my gems up, right? So I could forgo 24%. I'd take a decreased rarity so that I could level gems and then sell those leveled gems, because people like those too, right? They don't have to spend the time leveling the gem. I mean, I don't mind it because I can tear through things, but some people like that. So something to think about. I found another weapon that's like this. I'll have to see if it's better. I think it is comparable to this weapon. We'll have to see. I have to change some sockets around so that I can get it in here. But moving on to the weapons, basically, I have them for poison on hit. Now, what poison on hit suggests is it doesn't suggest what hit. So it doesn't suggest whether it's a physical hit or whether it's a spell hit, right? So what I'm gathering is that I have a 20% chance to poison on hit with my contagion, because chance to poison, right? 70%. So this poisons things. At least this is what it says. So contagion is a hit, and it poisons things. Curses don't count as hits, so that's why I don't put any hit on gems that are curses. So that's what that's about. And then within the gem, or within, like, I haven't got them linked up properly yet, but here I have Bane and Despair. So now I only have to push one button to drop the two curses. And going back to the skill tree, you'll need to invest in the skill tree or in something else that will allow you to apply an additional curse. Otherwise, you're only gonna shoot off one of those curses. So when I push square now, two things are happening. So I have 2 curses, and then I have a hit, which poisons, and then I have the finisher that kind of follows it all around. And if I really need to, I'll throw in my own wither, which amplifies over time and damage and everything fun and juicy. And there's other skills that I could be throwing in as well too, right? Like triangle. Triangle will give me more damage. So triangle would be my end. Triangle would be my 5th, or whatever. It'd be my end. It'd be my end drop. So after I've done absolutely everything, boom! I want everything to be juicy. And Malevolence is over here because I can't afford to use it as a blood skill. That's why it's over here. So even if it was connected to these 2 things, it doesn't even matter. It's just here because it has to be. So whether it's linked in or not, it doesn't really matter. So this particular weapon kind of works for what I've got. The amulet, so no more magic find. We've basically just got 27% chance to gain frenzy charge on killing an enemy affected by at least 5 poisons. 14% chance to gain power charge on killing an enemy affected by fewer than 5 poisons. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a power charge. So basically what I'm after now, depending on how many poisons I've got going on, I might be able to slip in a 10% damage increase, but I'm more so after the duration, right? Because now I've basically got more than 100% chance to poison you with something. So now that I've got you in my grasp, I get 3% charge for as many enemies as I've killed, right? And you see how many enemies I kill at one time. So that's how that plays into that. This is just for poison, right? Increase damage with poisons, and then chance to hit, right? I really don't care about the physical damage. The intellect and the dexterity is nice. Yeah. So I'm still getting nice drops with this particular setup. So I will probably stick with this because I'm much stronger now. Just shedding a few magic find pieces, because that shield was brutal, because 100% extra curse time like that, and given the fact that I barely have 4,000 max anything between health and shield. So, and I've kind of upgraded. I haven't upgraded the boots because I'm gonna shed them soon. But like this, upgrading the quality of the items that you have will give you better energy shields, or better whatever. I threw these in because you know what? I might make a dexterity character I might keep these around and make a poison character. I keep talking about a poisonous archer. I might make a poisonous stabby. That'd kind of be awesome too. And then the chest plate that I'm working on to try and turn into magic is already slated for dexterity. So like this is, I mean, there's the potential to do something greasy with a physical character. I can see it. I'll have to put it together to see the path. But yeah, and then the potions, I just kind of upgrade whenever I can. You see, I rip off a lot of some of that, like I'm still upgrading my potions too, right? Like I still don't have nice potions that I'm working with. I'm just picking up stuff, whatever I got off the ground. This I'll change before I upgrade. Um, I swapped out. I swapped out for duration. So I did have bleed on this one. So I had take a bleed off of me. So if I got hit by anything physical and I started to bleed while I was running, while I was running around, this potion would cancel that effect out. But no longer, because it only lasted for like 2.5 or 2.8 seconds or something like that. But now we're almost up to 6 seconds, and it's quality +4. I think it was like 5.2 to begin with. So that's extra jog for me, which is yes. Immunity to ignite during, yeah, right. So see, I had a couple deterrents on these things. So no catching on fire and 0 bleeding, which was nice because I do not want to be on fire with this character. Otherwise, I won't have any health left over. So, but that was kind of the run through. That was kind of the run through. So, yeah. So just to recap, I think I'm going to finish up over here. And by finish up, I'm going to take, well, I'm going to ride out Act 10 until it's no longer worth it. Because I can get, if I pay attention and I don't rush too fast, I can keep those blocks of XP. And they accumulate pretty fast. Like I can still move pretty quick through these levels and keep that XP at the same time. Just not as fast. But it seems to be the most stable place to play right now. And and you've seen the accumulation of the maps, which is nice, right? So now, right, if you don't have the currency to move forward, this is inevitably what you're going to be ending up, this is what you're going to end up doing. Right? You're going to have to grind out for like yesterday, oh, I was so happy. So you see me come back with all these little tidbits. So I think it's like the orb of alteration or something like that. It's that blue one that you get hundreds upon hundreds of, right? So I don't often trade in one particular currency. I don't. I'm sorry, but all of this currency is currency, right? So I have currency and I'm going to play with that particular. I really don't care what you're asking for. To be honest, I'm that person. I will give you whatever currency I have because at the end of the day, I usually give you more than what you're asking for, or at least I try to, right? There are some things that, they're like, oh, this isn't exalted. And you're like, really? That, I don't know. I probably find a lot of extremists in the game. But like I play with the currency I have. So this guy was asking for chaos orbs and I didn't have any, so I threw him a bunch of calligraphy orbs and then I threw him I think they're like 3 chaos orbs each a stack and gave him I don't even know. It was basically the whole thing. It was basically the whole section is filled up. I was like, here.
have like 20 or 30. It was something. It was like 20 or 30 worth of chaos. Yeah, chaos orbs or whatever they're called. I don't know. So don't be afraid to play in currency that you have. Don't let other people's expectations. Don't let other people's right. Don't let other people's expectations. If they want the money, they'll take it. And if they don't want to, and I honestly, I only deal with people who are online. And if you don't talk to me, like I gather you might be in a labyrinth or you might be something. So I'll put out a couple. I'll pull up a couple. I won't actually post to them, but I'll get them prepared. That way I have them on the board and I haven't lost them. And then I'll put in a bid. And if you don't get back to me in 10 minutes, I'm gone. I give you 10, like that's what you get. You get 10 minutes from me and that's it. And then I move on to the next one because there's pages upon pages upon pages of gear, and I will find somebody thirsty enough to take my granny change. I swear to God, if you dig long enough, you'll find somebody, right? So, and then my bank looks so much cleaner. Oh, I love it. I love it. But don't let the fact that you have pennies discourage you from trying to buy something that you think you should be buying with quarters or dollars or whatever people want to associate their value of currency. Like, it's all subjective, right? It's all subjective. I'm sorry, it's all subjective. Like, I understand that you have a drop rate, but at the same time, if you like, I don't value like chaos orbs are literally worthless to me. I do not use them. So for me to just throw away chaos orbs on something is absolutely amazing, right? Because I'm more interested in orbs that actually do things for me. I'm interested in the currency that does things. I'm not interested in currency that's going to give me a random event. Like that's not worth anything to me, right? So again, subjective, that's value to me, right? I find a chromatic gem to be more valuable than a chaos gem. That's my opinion, because I can actually do something. I can better suit my gear, right? Or a lynx, or a chance at a link. I view a link as more worth than, and there are some gems, there are some currencies that I haven't moved into yet because I obviously am not at that level yet. But I mean, it's getting to the point where I'm starting to get there. And I'm, honing the build. If I have to make another witch with this similar skill tree, I know that this skill tree just eats everything. That's the best part about it. So at this point in time, what can I do to tweak it to either make myself less squishy, or to the point where I just walk into a room and everything is dead, and I don't have to worry about. The only thing I have to worry about is the external traps. So like when I'm running through the labyrinth, am I gonna get cooked to death by the floor because I'm so squishy? Like, that's ultimately what I want the end process to be. It's going to be a mechanical or an external hazard, not an NPC. Well, I mean, and to some degree there are NPCs that do one-shot murder me, right? Running through the labyrinth, if you see some of the videos that I have, there are standpoints where I just get obliterated, but that's because I'm moving way too fast to begin with. So if I were to put more health potions on and bring back that run, right? But at the same time, I need to be able to run away from the situation so that I can keep my health and my shield. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. And then controlling the mob. So I've been reading that people don't like using the mob because it's an NPC and you can't control it as well as you think you should be able to. But if you watch some of my labyrinth, you can see my ebb and flow movements. You can see how I almost breathe with the mob. I bring it back in, and I funnel the things that I'm fighting into a certain spot, and then I'll bring it back in, and I'll push it back out, right? And you have to stay engaged, because if I run away from something, my mob is going to follow me. So to some degree, you have to stay engaged. So by running around and not staying in one spot to get hit, I still engage myself in the fight. It's the same thing in the labyrinth, right? Like if I stand still at the end boss in the labyrinth, he just throws a bunch of poison at me, and then I'm dead. But if I'm moving, when he does that, he cannot get a lock on me in the first place. So I'm able to survive a bit longer. Like, I've beaten the end boss without dying. It's doable with this character. It's not a hardcore build. If we're going to say anything about this character, it's definitely not a hardcore build. I mean, if I played with somebody, or if I played with a few people, and I had some tanks in front of me to take all that damage away from me, I could make this just righteous. Right? Like, I'm already making it righteous. Just the fact of the matter, no, see, they only shoot one. But did he just bite it? I think they just bit something. No, they only shoot, and they only shoot one. Oh, I thought they shot 3. Dang. So we can definitely find something better than this. They move fast. That's what I like. The bubbles moved a little slower. I'm probably going to reach out and try and find those elemental ribbons or whatever they're called, and bring them into the fold. That would be absolutely amazing. Right. And this is like just with 3 spectra, or whatever you want to call them. Ooh, squidgy. But like, I'm pretty capable of doing damage amongst the fact that my mob actually does a lot of damage too. Like once you get the golem and the 9 zombies going. I find the problem with this game, it's not like, it's everything that Diablo isn't. It's everything that Diablo should have been. Like, they did an amazing, they did such an amazing job on this game that you could mess up a build pretty quick if you didn't know what you were doing. Like, and then you spend all that time adding to your skill tree only to have to go and try and buy an orb of regret, or buy orbs of regret, so that you can, like, could you imagine, like, I mean, I guess it would be cheaper to a degree to erase this skill tree than to start a whole new character. I like playing through the idiosyncrasies from minimum to maximum. It helps you to learn that, like, if you get a rush to a maximum character, you haven't learned the basic skills and the core values of that character by leveling it yourself. Right? So you need to, so it's basically the school of hard knocks. I mean, sure, if you get, I could see it. I could see it. I could easily grind up for some currency, erase all of this, and start over again. It'd be kind of expensive. I don't know. Value. It's the value in the currency again. What do you value more? Do you value your time, or do you value what you've, or do you the material that you've gathered? It just depends. It depends on how you look at it. So philosophical for a gamer, eh? we're trying to murder monsters here. Settle down. Yeah. I'm happy with what I've created. I want to take it further. I want to be a maximum, I want to be maximum DPS, and I can be much stronger than this, given the fact that I have 2 crappy rings and a pair of boots that belong to, what level are those boots even? I don't even know what level these boots are. They're half nice. I find better things with better rarities on them though. I made a hardcore witch, this particular build. I think she made it to like level 50 or 60. And then it was one of those like random explosions in your face. Because you get used to characters and what they're capable of doing. But then when you get an elite of that same type, it can be so random, the effect that it has on your character. It's roulette at this point. Right? That's why I try to stay, well, you see, I can push through, like, if I set my traps, if I set my curses and my AoE properly, I can walk right through, I can run right through things. It doesn't affect me because everything's dead. But at the same time, some of those things have activate on death. Some of those things just take away my life. So, I could build anything. Honestly, I can maximize anything's damage in this game. It's just a point of what you would like to see that character do at the end, right? You have to have a lot of forethought. This requires forethought. Especially given, well, I mean, you can erase a mistake. If you make 1 or 2 mistakes, it's not so costly to buy an orb of regret. I get that. But like, if I figure that that I'm just way too squishy to do anything in a map, like, what if I'm the most powerful thing out there, but at the same time I'm wasting all 5 of your lives, or however many lives you get to do a map, right? What's the point? At that particular point, this build becomes a farming tool for currency. That's basically what I will stay with this character in Act 10, and I will just grind for currency. That's all it will do, right? But, you know, I mean, that's what you get for having such a narrow skill tree, right? I could potentially come to a roadblock where I am so squishy that this skill tree is absolutely useless up in the greater tiers. Right? I mean, I've been able to sneak by thus far on 1000 health. I mean, they have like they have a skill. Where is this skill? Where's this chaos skill? It's I saw it and I was like, I should probably try and play with this because it's so interesting. Where is this chaos skill? It reduces your health to 1, but gives you immunity to all chaos damage. Where'd it go? It's in here somewhere. It's in here somewhere. It's such a ridiculous skill to put into this tree that I would want to try and play with it. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Anyways, take my word for it. There is a skill in here that reduces your health to 1, but gives you immunity to all chaos damage. Where is it? Anyways, so like if you could beef up your energy shield, so you could do like a strict energy shield build, and you could make it so that you're taking less elemental and physical damage with your shield, right? And you just beef the hell out of your shield. And then who cares if you have 1 hit point, because your shield will never be depleted. Right? You can do that with this skill tree. You can, like, whatever build works for you and however you want to play is up to you. Like, that's what this says to you. Like, I could have taken this witch all the way down here. The point of it doesn't matter. The fact is that I could do it, right? So don't be afraid to experiment with your tree. I would say if you're going to play a hardcore character, do a lot more research into it, because this character does not work as a hardcore character whatsoever. I wasn't joking about that. I was lucky to get it to level 50 or wherever it got to. It was like half. I got it to half. And the reason I got it to half was because I was too chicken to take it anywhere, and I was basically fighting goblins in the Lumbee Courtfield. That's basically what I was doing, right? Like, I didn't take my character anywhere, and I didn't risk its life. Like, I never went into the mine. I never went anywhere with my hardcore. Like, I didn't go into the... There were dreams that you could go into with your hardcore character. I didn't go into those. I set my character up for that particular instant, but I never actually went into them. And the reason for that is because you were dead so quick. Like, you get the odd run where it's just like, it's so beautiful. It's like a snowboarder carving around trees. You're just weaving in out of the dead and the monsters, and your mob and your curses are just eating everything, and it's so beautiful to watch. But like, there's always that one buzzkill that just ruins your cornflakes, man. It just ruins your cornflakes. So you could potentially have half the damage and more shield or more health, right? You don't need to instantly kill. Like, I don't instantly kill the end boss. like if I were to survive the whole the Act 10, the whole boss fight, it probably takes. You see, there's some scenes in there that you actually have to watch where they don't do anything. But besides those cutscenes, probably takes me. Well, you've seen it. You've seen it when I throw life after life at it. Um, without having to die and then respawn. Like that's basically how quick I can take the boss out. Like if you were to cut out all of the if you were to cut out all of the dying, that's how fast. That's basically how fast I can kill the boss. Um, without dying. But the chances of that happening are like one in 10, maybe 1 in 20. Like the odds are really crappy that you will never finish the game as a hardcore character with this build. You'll never. It won't happen unless you've got a team. Like even surviving some of those end game blasts, I'm done. You don't survive them. I'm one hitted by absolutely everything that thing does. So it's just basically all luck. Um, if you were to build a hardcore character, I would suggest a tanky shield that's resistant to just about everything. Um, yeah, I could build something like that. I just haven't decided whether or not I'm going to use a shielded version or a staffed version. Because, like, I could basically have a tank with a mob of zombies. You can do that, right? Like, I can have an archer with a mob of zombies that does chaos damage. I basically just trade up my essence drain for a bow. That's all I'm doing. It's the delivery system that you're after. If you can deliver the chaos and the poison just as fast or faster with a set of blades or with a bow, right? Because you see how close I get to the action when I'm running around. So if you can add I don't have any evasion. So if you can add evasion and dexterity and all this fun stuff to the build on top of that, I think a physical character with this particular or with this similar tree would be absolutely deadly. You would rain chaos everywhere and nothing would touch you. You wouldn't necessarily have to worry about all those blasts and all those stupid little idiosyncrasies that I have to slow down for. Yeah, this is me rambling. Um, I guess what I will do is give me a sec. Let me load up my coffee, and then I'll showcase the damage that this thing can do. I think I've got a little bit of XP on the board. Yeah, let's try and save this XP, right? Because for the past day, I've made enough XP that I should have had a level easily. I should have had 2 levels, but I've been wasting it looking for gear so that I could move forward in my damage. But at the same time, maybe I don't know. Yeah. So give me a sec. Let me get some things organized. I will turn the sound back on this time because I don't want the sound of dying people while I'm talking to you guys. But you're more than welcome to listen to it as I play if you so choose to, and I will give you that opportunity. But I will shut my face. I'm going to mic out, and I'll be back in 30 seconds or so.
much clutter.
Yes? Freedom comes to those who...
Hello.
comes to those who
Too much clutter.